Hey guys, Igor here, and in today's tutorial we are going to model this strange looking device. I believe this is some kind of communication device, and these two things are basically the speakers, and here I guess it's some kind of a microphone, let's say. But while this object or model seems easy enough, straightforward to do, I'm going to go a bit hard mode, and for the first time I will utilize Topo Build and show you guys how you can use Topo Build for your own models. It's kind of cool. You can use Topo Build with other tools too, if you know how. So this is something I will show, and hopefully you can utilize it too in your work. So before I start, I just want to say that what's problematic here is that we have a curved model, and on top of that we have some kind of cylinder that connects to this curved piece of the object. And this usually is not really straightforward, and it can be a bit tricky to model and to get things basically to look good. So what I will do, I will start with this piece first. This is more complicated piece, so I read from the comments that I should maybe focus on harder stuff first and then go from there. So we're gonna spend most time on this. So let's just begin. I'll put this concept on side, and now I noticed one strange problem with this scene, and I have no idea why this is happening. If you see, I can basically select everything, but for some reason this object here, whatever I do, cannot be selected. Now usually if you have this kind of problem, what we can do, we can go to our preference, and then under the objects and geometry we can enable this pop-up menu selection. And what this does is, now if I go in my viewport and try to select something, we will get this pop-up menu selection, so which basically scans whatever is under the mouse pointer, and then it will know, and then you will get this pop-up menu selection, and then you will be able to select based on this selection. It can be sometimes convenient. In my case, unfortunately, it doesn't help. So here maybe you can hear that I'm pressing left mouse button, but nothing actually happens. So I was thinking maybe this is a good opportunity to show you what this do. So I'm not gonna use it. You can use it if you see fit. But what I will have to do is select everything and just remove it. Oops. And then select this COM device again and pretty much work with this object only. Let me see if now, yeah, selection will not work now. What happens if I don't have a cabin? Yeah, it's, ah man, yeah, very strange, but okay, whatever. Let's just remove everything and then select this and go inside with one of my shortcuts, primitive shortcut in my case. So to start, I will start with this part here, and what I will do is I will just quickly make for myself a curvature on the top, something like this. I believe will be just fine. And to make this part here, I can either use my clip tool and then see if I'm looking at my reference image. I believe this is okay, and then I can just close this down and use, I believe I will use this triangulate fan and make sure that the form patch is disabled. Now what I need to do now, I need this part here, and what I will do, make sure that my tools options is set to create in context, and I will just add a tube, and I'll just put it somewhere on the side and just try to mimic the size from the reference, something like this, and I will close the cap. Now what I will do, let me make sure that I press space and Y so that my coordinate system is properly set. And now I will make sure that this object here, well, axis is fine, so I will just utilize my start orient picking and place this, let's see here. Come on. Sometimes start orient picking doesn't work when we have objects separated, so let's try with align components. Okay, like geometry to align, and then let's place it here. And when we use edge for our target, then for some reason the object gets scaled, so we can just restart the scale from the transform attribute settings and go from there. And now we can just scale this down as we see fit, and make sure that we put this inside. I think it's a bit bigger, something like this. But I also believe we need a bit more columns, and I also want to make sure that I have an edge here right in the middle. So let's try to get that. Okay, because at the end I simply want to make sure that I'm using the mirror, because then I can then focus only on the one side. Okay, I believe this is okay, and this is exactly how this is on this concept, right? So you can see by this hard edge, you can notice that this is how it was done. But what I will do, I will actually use Topo Build for this, and I think it's a great opportunity to showcase how to work with the Topo Build. So I will go out. Of course, I need to make sure that these two are merged. Yes. And let's see. Okay, it's not. I need to position this properly, so that we are looking at the z-axis like this. We can see it here. This is our z positive, and I believe this is now what we need. So this is our reference for Retopo. So the next thing we need to do is we need to activate Topo Build, and then we need to select the projection geometry. And for some reason, come on. But I did, come on. Okay, this is weird. Let me try like this. Is it really that I have an issue with this? Okay, seems that this object is totally invisible, so what I will do, I will create another one. And I will just go here, select everything with Control A, copy, go back with U, go inside here, paste it, go back, and let's remove this. Let's see where this object is created. It's created in the middle. And let's see, will Topo Build work now? Utilize, yeah. So now if we press enter twice, because we don't need extended topology. And now we are in the new geo node. Okay, so let me just repeat this because I will delete this part. And actually, let me just copy the name, paste it here, delete this one. And let me just repeat what I did. So again, this can be any kind of object, right? When we are doing retopology, usually these objects are like polygon count is counted in millions, but for this tutorial, it's not the case. We can utilize, for example, here, if you really want to connect these pieces, which I don't believe it's necessary, we can utilize Labs voxel mesh and then create something like this, and then retopologize on top of this. But okay, guys, we are back. I accidentally oh, man. I accidentally activated color picker from this software that I'm using for the keystrokes. But anyway, we're not going to use remesh grid, and we're going to use something like this. So let me repeat. This is our object. Okay, and first what we do is we activate Topo Build, then we select the object we want to retopologize. You can also read here, then we press enter, and then again press enter because there is nothing to extend. And once we press enter again, we get into this state, into a new node, which is called into a new geometry node, which is called Com Device Retopo. So you can see here that we have two geo nodes now, and we can start retopologizing. I believe you know what is retopologize, so let's start. Now I can also use, for this case, Labs Symmetrize. And let me just see, I believe this is, we need its direction on X. Let me just see. I go up now. Okay, I believe the symmetry needs to be minus. Yeah, now we can see the geometry on the other side. So to utilize this Symmetrize, either we work like this, but we need to make sure that our Topo Build is selected so that we can work with it. Okay, or we make Topo Build visible like this and make Symmetrize either as selectable template or just a usual template like this. But we need to make sure that this here object merge is set to template. Now I don't like this green color, so I can go into my Topo Build settings, and under the visualize we can actually change the color of our retopology mesh. So here, if you press on this circle, we can change the color pickers. And here, if I press right mouse button, we can actually also enable show color wheel and choose color from the wheel. What we can also do, which is not really known, and this goes for every color channel that has this kind of small window to check your color. What's your color? We can actually hover over it with our mouse, and then with middle mouse button we can get this. You can see how my cursor changed into this aiming thingy. And basically what this does is we can now choose color based on our well, position of the mouse. So sometimes in this case seems that it doesn't work, but this is how you can also change your color. Strange, it's probably a bug. I'm sure it's a bug, so let me just see what kind of color I want to use here so that I can see a bit better. You know what? Let's say this is fine. Yeah, let's just leave it like this. It's okay. So let's delete all of this and make sure that you go through all of these. Basically with this build, you are building. So in this mode, we are building our geometry. Okay. In this mode, we are sliding our geometry. As you can see here, we are sliding based on these settings. So it's like, it's the same like on the edit node. So these modes. Sometimes some things can be more useful than others. Here we are adding cuts. So if we press shift, we are adding loop. And if you are not pressing shift, we are adding cuts like this. And with middle mouse button, we are escaping whatever we are doing right now, or if we have a selection. So if you can see here, press left mouse button, I made a cut, and we can still see that I have some kind of line here. But if I press middle mouse button, that's it, it's gone. It also goes with this thing. So sometimes we can have a selection. Let's see, now I'm still in building mode, but if I press middle mouse button, I'm escaping the operation. And also this is not only for building things, this is also for adjusting things or moving your components around. This is our most used mode, I believe. You can select everything, just press delete. This time we actually need to utilize our proper delete on our keyboard and not our shortcut that we set customly, because it will not work. It will actually add a blast now. And this is what we don't want. Another nice thing, and it really works nice, is this brush. I use this when I'm adjusting some points. It's really convenient. Sometimes I will show you that too. Smooth brush also is really convenient. Sometimes it can really smooth out the polygons nicely. And this one is a skinning mode. Basically what we do with this, we make guides like this. I believe it would be better if we are using our ortho view for this thing. So let me just delete everything. So shift left mouse button, drag to select these guides, and then press delete. And now only with our left mouse button, let's make skin something like this. And then with control left mouse button, we are trying to decide how this will be skinned. And you can see if we are dragging like this horizontally, not vertically, we can skin our geometry. And with middle mouse button, we can add, not with middle mouse button, sorry, with scrolling. So if we scroll, we are adding divisions like this. Okay, columns, I believe. And if we are pressing Control and again scrolling, we are adding divisions in between. So very, very convenient, especially for these kind of cases. And it also tries to, as you can see, it also tries to stick to the object that we are retopologizing. So very convenient. But I will delete this. So Shift, left mouse button, drag, delete. And I will start with this part at the top. Let me just adjust my reference on the other screen and let's just start. So the tricky part is actually this part here. And what I need to do, I need to make sure that I'm in build mode. Also, if you press right mouse button, you have a bunch of these settings depending on the mode. Basically, okay, they're all the same, so but not all of this can be utilized in all modes. You utilize these settings in this mode here. So, and to get into this mode and to change this mode with shortcuts, we press Shift and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, let's start. So Shift 1 to be in the build mode. And let's begin building. Now sometimes it can happen that you get this dot and then dot here, and you might not realize how to actually create a geometry from it. So once you created a dot, you can just create one dot, no problem. You just need to click on it again, and then you will get this line, and then you can start building on top of these points. Also, if sometimes undo doesn't work from the viewport, just hover over the network, node network, and then press Ctrl Z, and things will work. Like now I'm pressing Ctrl Z, you can see here, but it doesn't work for some reason. But if I go into my node network, everything works. So, okay, let's try to build this. I might speed this up at some point. And let's see. Okay. Okay. Also, we can utilize when we are building, we see this blue outline. We can utilize Control, left mouse button to rotate the created edge, or Shift to make this either bigger like this or more straight. So left, top, right, bottom. So this is how I'm moving my mouse: left, top, right, bottom. This can be sometimes very handy. Okay. Good. This. Now, what you can also do, if you don't find this retopo or reference object good enough, like you want to see your wireframe behind, then we can go into our display options. So with D, And then under the markers, set display option for template model geometry. So this is the template model geometry. Then we can actually change these as we see fit. You can use ghosted, not ghosted. Not sure faded what it does. Also draw as X-rays, also doing something. But yeah, for the most part, I believe smooth shaded is fine. Or I believe this one, because the contrast is better. So let me use this. Let me use this one. And also I can see wireframe a bit, and that maybe can help me out with figuring out the topology I want to use for this. Now, for some reason, Symmetrize doesn't work. So let me try to actually display Symmetrize. And then make this as a reference. And yeah, we can try then working like this. So it's really up to you guys. For me, this I think it will work. So let's select this thing. Deselect with middle mouse button so that I'm basically in selection mode. Then Shift A, left mouse button to select a loop, and then we can choose to even the space selection. So with Shift E, can even out the selection here. And we can do the same here. So Shift E to even out, and then we get something like this. Okay, now I will not try to make things super perfect. It will take a long time, so, and I don't want to spend too much time on this again. It will really take me a long time to do this for the tutorial. So let's just try and do this as fast as possible. Now you don't have to worry about this. We can see that there is a cut. Symmetrize from the labs tools actually always cutting in the middle. So this here you should not be concerned because you can see that there is a proper line. So we actually need to make adjustments because of that. This is now triangle, but let's see if I will deal with that later. Let's make a circle here around this edge. Yeah, with Retopology is really a lot about eyeballing. Precision is not usually the best there. And it doesn't have to be perfect, to be honest. Good enough is, well, good enough. Okay, that looks decent. So let's continue. And you know what? I'm not going to use my Symmetrize. I believe this is better to see what's happening. I know that Symmetrize will work, so not a big deal. Okay, let's continue. I'll add few cuts here. So with shift number 3, I can add a loop. So let's hold shift to add a loop. And with middle mouse scroll, we can add how many cuts we want to make. And again, shift 1 to go outside. And what we can also do is do something like this. And then with cut, let's just add a few of these. And now let's try making these even with Shift E. And this looks better. Move it. Now, what we can also do, we can actually utilize our other tools and just make everything straight here because we can. Okay. Make things straight like this. Also, we can do the same here. So I'm just using our usual tool set now. We can see that add node is added. So it's now like a usual modeling. But if I try to do something else now, the topology will not stick. So for making this straight, it's convenient. And now we just enable another Topo Build, and we are yet again in our Topo Build mode, and we can simply continue from where we ended. So, which I find really, really convenient, but I believe that I will not need these. So let's select everything and let's connect these. What we can also try is using, so let me undo. So if I select this edge and then utilize Shift F, I believe it's a Shift F or just F, we can fill quickly like this, but this will not work obviously, so let's undo. For this, I believe it will. So I need one more cut, or I will just do this and then select F to fill. Maybe move a little bit here. And that looks fine. I think I will now go and try to move this here. Yeah, I think that will work better. Yeah, the retopology is not the best thing, or not the best, but like the fastest thing ever. But it's if you want to have a proper topology, is a good thing to do. So let me cut here. And the really nice thing is when we are cutting, the mesh is actually trying to respect the reference. So it's really convenient. So again, let me just do this quickly like this. And I can also use my brush. So you can see that it's much quicker and it's kind of softer, so you can be much more precise with your positioning of the points. And now let's see. Here I have 1, 2, and so I need 2 cuts here, and then this. I believe this is okay. Now we can see that, luckily we're gonna use subdivision for this at the end. So this being a bit blocky doesn't really matter. What matters is that we have enough polygons to make this thing look good. And it's always good that we are actually trying to use as least polygons as possible, because it's much more easier to work with. So here I will need cut in the middle. And then again, I can use F. Sometimes will not work, or sometimes we need to utilize the proper edge. And now I can use my brush. This. Seems that I don't need this, so let's select and delete. And let's try to make this to be a decent topology. So, okay, let me now again go in my selection mode, select these, press T, then E, and let's just try to, I don't know why control doing this at the end. It's really bummer. So let me do this with shift, then move this down a bit. And now things are straight. Can do the same here. Something like this. Same here. We're gonna fix this with Topo Build, so I just want to have straight edges. And let's go back to Topo Build. And now with the smooth, we can just, or sorry, with the brush, we can just adjust these so they are sitting where we need them. Okay, cool. So again, let's go into the build with shift number 1. And we can also select the loop, edge loop, and then build it from there like this. Now we need 3 cuts here. Okay, and now let's connect all of these. Okay, seems that I don't need this one. Complete. And let's just connect. Quickly, let's see what we did here. And let's use brush to make these where we need them. Or we can try and use, let's see, let's try and use our space even. F. Sorry, shift E. Not shift F. Shift E. Okay, let's bring this down. Now we can use our sliding here, and edge would work here, I believe, the best, not the surface. So let's go into our, now you can also be in all 3 modes here. So 1, 2, 3, or if you press 3 again, you can see we can toggle between 2 modes like this, or just have all of them enabled. And now let's just slide these points here. The thing is with the slide, we first need to select the point and then slide. But we can also try to use our smooth brush. So it's so that the primitives are well smoothed. it will try to make them same size. So sometimes you can get really nice results. The nice thing about them is they will not touch the border edges. So you don't have to be afraid of that. You can just go in and try to smooth out everything and then border with the edges later. So let's save, Control S, and now here let's just utilize our slide. So Shift 2, select the point, slide, slide, slide. I believe this will be okay. We also need to make sure that this part here is really as close as possible to our reference, because this will determine our, well, circle, I guess, and how perfect it is in the end. So even edges and correct positioning should be priority. So let's say that's fine. Let's say we are happy with this. Again, it's not perfect, but it's fine. It's not going to be seen that much. And you can most certainly spend much more time with it if you want. So I think for the tutorial is actually great, to be honest. And let's use Symmetrize now. Let's see what we made. Looks decent, but I think I'll have to, let's see, I think I have to move this a bit. Yeah. Something like this is much better. So if I go up to my Topo Build again, we will have to make this like that. This point. We have triangle here, so what I will do, I will delete this or not. First I will make a cut here, and then in the build mode with Shift 1 just, well, okay, this will not work. So what I will do first, I will just make a bridge here to here. Also, let me connect these, just overlap, and Symmetrize will do the rest. And now I believe I can delete this without consequences. Let's see if it will work here. Yeah, fill will work nicely here, even though we can deal with that later. So if I go to my Symmetrize again, we can say that we did a good job here. I can actually now try and make this just to make sure. Let's see what will happen if I try to make even out these. Ah, come on. So, okay, we are back. Let's fix this. And I believe everything else we did. just fine. So now let's go into the Symmetrize again. I believe I'll just move this a little bit inside so that it tries and match this side here. So I believe this is fine. So what I want to do now, save, and now I want to try and just make these rings or this ring evenly spaced out. And now I believe we are going to have a perfect circle. So this will work only if we have already symmetrize object. It will not work just with one part and then you symmetrize. Make sure that you symmetrize first and then evenly space everything else. Okay. And yeah, that would be it. And now we can just continue and work on this as a regular model. So again, my control is making problems here. So I just want to make this straight and make sure that this template is now off. And now we can, well, simply start working from here again. So again, make this straight. And if we go and put this under the subdivide, we can see that our mesh is decent. It is decent. I would need support edge here too. So what I can try is just poly extrude inner and make something like this. Also, let's bring this out a bit and just see if the curvatures are working. And now I believe this will be much better. Yep. That's much better. And honestly, like, you can't say if this topology is bad or not bad. It's actually really good. It's actually really good. I'm very happy how this evolved. So let's continue. And what I will do next is this part here. Now we need to extrude it. Obviously we cannot extrude it like this. Let's try with F. This will work. And let's make this straight. Let's bring it inside a bit. Let's polyfill, triangulate fan, and then let's, of course, need to be in primitive mode, like that. Select and let's convert, shrink, and reselect. And then oops, sorry. No. Not subdivision. I want to make sure this is extruded without subdivision. So do this again. Yes. Again, we can try and utilize edit node. Shift C to make a perfect circle. And then polyfill this. Use these. Again. I'm always using a wrong mode. So let's do inner polygons. Let's go inside like this, and we need support edge. We can also add it here like this. And I believe we're going to need the same here. So and now if we double click, not duplicate, but subdivide, we managed to get really nice topology and basically what we needed, properly connected. Now, was it worth of the trouble for this project? Well, in terms of tutorial, yes, but in terms of the sheer effort to get this, I'm not sure. It's up to you guys in the end. So yeah, hopefully now you know how can you utilize your Topo Build, because it can really be useful. And as you could saw, we can actually use it with other tools too. So that's also a big plus. It's not just what Retopology offers as a tool, but actually it can be mixed with other tools, as I showed you. Okay, so let's try now quickly finish everything and make this project done. So let me make this straight and let's see what I need to do. So I believe I'll just use this. I will also make this straight, a bit more straight, and this part here too, and maybe this part here too. And now here I will just copy or duplicate and use this for everything else. But let me see. You know what? As this is not really the perfect topology, I will just add another tube. Okay. And of course, because I had a crash, I need to make sure that I'm in the proper tool option. So not a curve, but tube. And let's now try to build this properly. Okay, up. And let's try to resize this. Up. Let's add a few more divisions. Like that. And I believe I will start. Oops. This middle part. Even though this should be much higher. Something like this. Okay. So let's go back to our tube and just make it higher. Let's just make it like this. And then use our edge percentage to bring this where we need it. And let's try to build this thing. So here we need poly extrude outwards. And that will be it for this part. Now I will make this disconnected. So let's cast this, and now this part is separated. And let's make it a bit bigger. Let's actually extrude this inner here. Inset. Or just extrude by point normal. Something like this. And here I need edge in the middle, and then I can use poly bevel to create these two. Okay, but this one is a bit bigger than the bottom one. So let's extrude. And here now, let's disconnect these two edges. Make sure to save. Double click to select edge ring. And then we will all again cusp the edges. We need to make sure that cut boundaries is selected. And now let's make sure everything here is selected like this. We can bring this inside a bit and then just extrude. And I believe this will do. You can again create one board, extrude, and then use copy. This is also very viable. It's up to you. Okay, this part is done. Now I need the side part, which again we can decide how we can proceed with it. But first, let me just connect these two. So let's press L in the node network. And let's just merge. Basically, when you have two separate node networks, what you can do to bring them together closer, that makes your life more convenient. Like you can see in this case, just press L on your keyboard and things will get sorted out, layout more convenient. Then you can just select last two nodes and then merge them. Also, to merge them, you select the nodes you want to merge, and then with Alt and then hovering over this point here or output with left mouse button, just press and release. That's it. Okay, now we have this part here. So, and it's also a bit tricky, but I'm not gonna do this and make it 100% connected. I believe it's really not necessary. So what I will do is I can try, let me see. I can try and utilize this part. I'll just make an extrude and merge node making issues. So let's extrude this to something like here. And then we can try, let's see. Of course, we're gonna cusp this part so it's separated. And also, I believe that I will make everything here simply bigger, or sorry, smaller, something like this. Now we can see this is not in the perfect position. So we can try and do the best we can to make it like this. Well, we can utilize precision tools like this. This side will not work because this is not symmetrical from this side. But I believe this is good. This is okay. So let's see. You know what? I'll just make things easier for us this time. I'll just create a box, bring it up. Now, why not using both techniques of connecting and not connecting properly, just to demonstrate that in some cases this is really not necessary. So I will add, I believe, one edge here, and then I will select it and use poly bevel to bring this somewhere here, and then make sure to use none. And that's it. Let's select these. Of course, this is, you can mirror this, no problem, but for the sake of tutorial, why not do things like that? So now let's make something like this. Now we need to make sure we optimize these points because of the bevel. They are on top of each other. And that, I believe, will be okay. Now we obviously need to connect these, but I will let you do this. Not gonna waste time connecting everything properly. At this point, guys, you should be able to do it on your own. Okay, now what I need. Okay, I can actually create just edge to help myself out. A shift left mouse button to finish the action. And then here with middle mouse scroll, we can add these divisions, which are basically our snapping points. So to make sure this is in the middle here, just use one or two divisions. Press left to cut, shift right mouse button to end. And now I'm going to use this point here as my, need point, and this will be my point of interest for this sphere. Let's make it polygon mesh. Let's bring it up, make it a bit bigger. And now let's select these points. So either I can just delete. Okay, I will use these. Just delete. And I can polyfill them. Make this separated. And then just poly extrude. And again, I can just aim to this point. Now, if you don't see the point, like I'm not seeing it here, it's hidden over this geometry, just press W on your keyboard to enter the ghost mode, and then you will be able to snap it. And outward front we don't need, and that's basically it for this part. Now we can delete these edges. And let's make sure that we connect everything. Now again, I will demonstrate this in the node network. If I press L, we can see how these three node networks are aligned now. And if we select all these three nodes, press Alt left mouse button, we now manage to merge them. So for this thing, before I mirror, let's create this part here. And for this, I'm going to go into my ortho view. And this sphere seems to be much bigger. Something like this. Yeah, it seems fine. Now here what I can do is, again, I can go with either with a curve tool or just use a box. Put it somewhere here, make it smaller. So I'm scaling the cube with Shift Control and left mouse button uniformly, and then with Shift uniformly on one side. And then if I don't press anything, I can also hide with H this thing here, and let's use our points to try and be precise. And now we can try our bevel only on this edge. Add some edges, but this time let's try using convexity in a different direction, and then you get this kind of result, which is great. And we can bevel this. Oops. This edge maybe here too. Like this. And then we can bevel these sides. Like this. Control to deselect this because we don't need. Let's see, I believe, yeah, we don't need these here either. These are just fine. And we also want to delete this polygon and the top polygon because we don't see it, so we don't need it. And now let's take these and just mirror them on the other side. And I can utilize normal here. So normal. Let's use it for everything. Yeah, I believe this will work. Okay, then we have this frontal part, which again, let's make it dirty. Let's create a box. Shift, Control Shift. I don't know why undo sometimes doesn't work. I'm really curious about that. So okay, let's see. Something like this. You can bring this part here. And this part seems to be a bit like this. And then we can poly bevel. Again, we can go up and just bring this to be a bigger. Go to bevel. Luckily it didn't crash. Again, we will have to use because we have overlapping points. Seems that it's not that thick, so let's do that. And now before I make another part from this, I'll make a cylinder or a tube. And I'll just make it in the center. This, bring it up, position. And from here it seems to be somewhere around here together with the cap. So let's close this here. And let's make a cut. Then let's extrude. That's it. Now we can just, but first let me just make a bevel here. And before I make a bevel, I'll just delete this inside part because we don't need it. And again, I'll make sure we connect everything like that. Let's bevel. I believe we will subdivide these, so I'll use crease. Or no, we will not subdivide because we need to properly connect everything. But I will not gonna do this. It's really, really long tutorial already, guys. So hopefully you don't mind that I will leave this to you. You can make this as detailed as you like. Okay, we are almost done. Let's add this part and then these two. And I believe we are going to be done. So again, I can actually just reuse this. That instead of scaling and affecting the bevel, I'll rather use edit. Okay, because that will not mess with my bevel. So the bevels will stay the same as here. But I will make this a sticker, I guess. And let's close the hole here. And fortunately, I don't see what's happening there on the reference, so I'll just make something quick. Just it looks like it's holding this thing, and what we can do is just something like this. Disable output front, and from this distance is you're really not gonna see anything. Okay, so last two parts, I believe. Let me try and position this. Luckily, this one is easy to position, so now I can also delete this and just rename this properly. Okay, let me see what happened. Oh, okay. That's weird. I cannot rename it. Okay, guys, that's weird. I believe I should be able to delete this because it was just our. Okay, so that is the problem. Nice, that actually happened. So make sure that you just delete the merged or imported reference, okay? And things will be okay again, as you can see. So now if I dive in, space Y, I can now utilize my, I believe, side view. And I can try using, see, let's go here. Well, I have merge here, but let's focus on this side, this node, and let's try to utilize our curve. I don't know why are these are happening. Let's just try and see what happens. Let's use, you know what, I'll use Bezier curve and I'll enable primitive snapping. And I will simply snap here. I cannot snap it from here because this wall is in the way. So I'll just, you know what, actually I can use grid. I'll use grid, it goes well. So from here to, I believe, somewhere here. Okay. And now let me go into different view and then just use it like that. And then in select edit mode. So now we have activated our curve tool. So we need these modes, these different nodes. So to be able to get the curvature here, we need to go into select edit mode, select this point, and then we utilize either this or that, and we just make a curve. And why it doesn't work? Okay, this is weird. Okay, this is not weird. I know what's happening. So let me try something. Okay. Okay. So I can actually move this with the middle mouse button and it will work. I don't know how, but it works. So now we make this and might move this or not. We can actually move this later if you want. Okay, now we can utilize sweep. Make sure to set it to round tube. And then under construction, we can actually, instead of using convert node, we can actually from here make sure that we are using polygons, and we can just add columns. Make sure to play with radius. Now this is a problem, so we can do is just use resample. I wish that sweep has a resample node. And what we will do on the resample, you can see resampling this curve, okay, will actually have an effect on how many divisions are added to this sweep. Not columns, but actual divisions, okay. So let's add it here, maybe more. What I'm aiming for is, this is obviously too much, but what I'm trying to make sure that this curvature here is nicely beveled, okay? So then I can just use facet. And then so that you can see what's happening. If I'm using remove inline points, you can see now what happens. And usually the smallest 0, 0, 1 is enough. And then when we go here, you can see that this is now actually properly set. Now obviously I need to move this here in the middle. Somewhere like this. Let's see actually. So with space Y. Yeah, this seems that it will work. Yeah, that's fine. So let's go back. And I think I can even use it from here. Yeah, changing the order so that sweep is at the last place. Make this thinner. Save. And now to create this some kind of strange speaker is just a matter of extruding things and make them bigger and then rotate it a bit. And if this is not good enough, what we can do, we can just make this different mesh and just subdivide once and then delete this part and extrude this part because it looks like it's extruded from the reference, and we can also extrude this inside. But again, this is I believe not necessary, but yeah, we can definitely do this to make things more detailed. Now if I want to make like indent here, what we can also utilize is edit node and then match profile, slide. This is a wrong profile, so opposite profile, and then just again utilize poly extrude and do something like this. Again, this is totally not necessary, but yeah, for the sake of tutorial, why not? Now I also need to make this a bit thinner. Make sure to output back and then just reverse the normals. And maybe I can make this bit. And now I can bevel this. Oh, seriously. Okay, so again we need to repeat quickly. Fortunately, this is how it is. When crash happens, things are fortunately not so convenient for us, but sometimes luckily we can quickly fix the problem or use the crash file. And let's mirror this. Whoops, let's make a reselection and then again enter. And yeah, guys, I believe that would be it. Let me just merge everything. This part I want to actually subdivide once, so it looks more decent. And here you can also, you should also add bevels. Oh, come on. Something like this. Let's add normal for the end. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, this looks, in my opinion, very good. Very good. This seems to be problematic inside, but it's fine. I believe this is okay. So let's add output. Add your groups, guys, as usual. Make this black to make sure that we know it's finished. We'll also add materials for it. Now let's select everything and make it visible. Deselect. I'll delete this object or just hide for now. And save. Let's go to our plops. Let's hit render. And let's wait a bit. Come on. Pause, restart. And now it. And guys, I believe that would be all for this series. And you can, as you can see, this, like, all of these things that are not properly made are just invisible in this case. So you can do this dirty as I did. And yet again, this part, was it worth it? It's up to you. If you like your clean topologies, then spend extra time, especially if you want to show someone, then I would definitely do it. If it's for portfolio, that will give people understanding that you're actually understanding what you're doing and that you know how topology works. So guys, regarding modeling, I believe I'm done for this project. I would like to thank everyone that made such nice comments. That really is that really motivates me to continue. We are almost at 400 subscribers, which is great. I hope to see more. People just need to give a chance to direct modeling. And for the next, guys, few tutorials, I believe I will cover some UV unwrapping and then exporting, and then we might try and model something else, because there is a lot of things that we can do, and I'll try to show everything that I can. So guys, hopefully you enjoy this mini project. Thanks for sticking out. Sorry for the long tutorials, but hey, it is what it is. And see you guys in the next video or project. Bye bye, stay safe.